Hi, I'm Donald McIntyre, Operations Manager at Emerald. This is the Emerald Blockchain course, Class 13. What are private and public keys? As I mentioned in previous classes, blockchains use private key cryptography or public key cryptography, and that is a combination of a private key and a public key. The private key is a very large number and it passes through a mathematical function, which is a one-directional mathematical function, and it produces the public key. The public key is called public because it may be known by anyone, and from the public key to try to figure out the private key or secret key is practically impossible. Um, so basically, in blockchains, this combination of private key and public key is used to manage the accounts, which are like the property unit in public blockchains. And it's extremely decentralized because only the users have the private key, which is like a password. And this is why security of the private key is critical, because nobody else will have access to assets on blockchains. And the public key is what is called an address in a blockchain. In general, the standard way of calling public keys are accounts or addresses, but most commonly people use the term address. So here you can see out of the same private key and public key, the addresses on blockchains actually look a little bit different, but they're the same number, just modified by a further calculation. In the case of Bitcoin, it's turned into base 58, which you can Google. It is a way of transforming the number to the same number, but it's expressed in a different base. So addresses look more or less like this. There's other formats, but they look more or less like this. In the case of Ethereum, it's simpler, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, because it's the same public key, but they just add a 0 and an X in front. So this is why your addresses on blockchains don't look raw like in this format, but they're shown in this format in blockchains. The use cases of the private keys and addresses is one, the private key is unique in the universe. This is key because this is what guarantees your property on blockchains if you hold your private keys. Only the holder has possession of the private key. This is done through normal software wallets like Emerald Wallet, where you control your private keys on your computer, or you can use hardware wallets, which may be used in combination with Emerald Wallet. And the private keys are actually separated from your computer, and they're in a separate device, so they may be more secure. You can have also the private keys in your phone apps, etc. So there's different levels of security, and this all has been explained in previous classes and also on the Emerald blog. 3, it is used as a password to control the address on a blockchain. Again, the user is the only person in the world who has this password. So the security is very high, but at the same time, it's imperative to have very good policies and ways of keeping the private key not only secret, but safe to be accessible to be able to use it. The address the address on a blockchain is analogous to a bank account in traditional systems. So if you have a bank account at Citibank or Banco Santander or any bank in the world, you're going to have your account with a format. Usually it's eight digits, something like that. That is that is the account under which you have your money in the bank. It's the same thing in a blockchain. The address holds your crypto assets inside a blockchain. So under this address, which is like a bank account but on a blockchain, you can have your native currencies like Bitcoin, ETH, ETC. You can have ERC tokens like Shiba Coin and others. And you can have NFTs, and also your stable coins like USDT, USDC, DAI, etc. And sixth, finally, the combination of the private key and address is actually the property unit in blockchain. That's what guarantees your property and your property rights. The fact that the public address is visible and people can see the asset doesn't mean that they have access to those assets. You are the only person that has access. So the blockchain serves in that sense as a property registry where your private key and your address are the property unit that correspond to you specifically. Thank you very much for watching this Emerald Blockchain course video. Class 13, what are private and public keys? And please remember to download Emerald at emerald.cash/download. Thank you very much.